I want to continue and shift gears a little bit to talking about kids. So before the podcast, I was just curious what the quote unquote mainstream recommendations were regarding kids and vegan diets. And so I found this article by WebMD, a subsidiary of WebMD called Grow, and it says, "Going vegan, is it a good choice for kids?" And there's a physician here, Stephen Lauer, who's a pediatrician at University of Kansas, who says, "My answer is that a vegan diet can be healthy for children, but there are several extra factors to consider." Okay. I just thought it was interesting that here's WebMD, a very mainstream outlet, saying that vegan diets can be healthy for kids. And if you read the article, basically he says this: children's calorie needs are more different from adults, especially for kids under the age of 3. They need more energy per pound of body weight. So he says, make sure that the vegan diet has plenty of calories. There are some micronutrients that are difficult to obtain from a vegan diet. They don't go into details on this. There are pros to a plant-based diet. For example, giving up meat helps cut down on unhealthy saturated fat and cholesterol. Hopefully everyone listening to this podcast knows that I would take a pretty serious issue with both of those claims and say they're pretty important. Actually, saturated fat, specifically stearic acid or odd chain fatty acids, are essential for human health. And cholesterol is a precursor for our hormones and for cell membranes. But there is this perspective, and we'll circle back to this in a moment, that vegan diets are healthy because they lower cholesterol and they avoid saturated fat. But if you look at the literature deeply, you find out that that's kind of an empty claim. So I find it interesting that this is a pretty weak article and doesn't really go into any of the details of what should be done. You can even get to page 2 here. They talk, okay, so you need to supplement vitamin B12. It's important to get enough protein. You probably need an iron supplement. They probably need a calcium supplement. So the list of supplements is rapidly growing from Stephen Lauer, saying that a carefully planned vegan diet can be healthy with long-term benefits. Okay, so that's the mainstream saying that. And then the Cleveland Clinic says, is a vegan diet safe for growing children? What you need to know about protein and vitamins. It's basically the same perspective. We've got a pediatric dietitian, not an MD here. You may want to make a few modifications. Vitamins and nutrients. So there's, I guess they say the same things. B12, iron, zinc, and calcium are the main things to supplement and to make sure you get enough protein. But again, these mainstream health authorities or health websites are not dissuading people from becoming vegan. That's a little scary to me. Let's pause there and say, what was your experience? Because you have 2 children now, and talk to me about your children's experiences.
Yeah, so my kids, they one of them was born vegan, and the other one was not. And my experience with that was that my son, even though we gave the healthiest diet we could possibly give him, according to what the top experts and the doctors who are well respected in the vegan community we're putting out there, we're telling us in private, in public, and all these things, making sure the calorie was on point, making sure that we're, covering all the bases. And so, even then, there were some red flags, and, I don't want to go into detail about exactly what those red flags were, but the fact is that when we added animal foods back in, these issues became a lot more, improved and, stopped progressing essentially. And so my daughter, who is 1 year old now, didn't go through a vegan pregnancy, and or anything like that. And so obviously they're completely different people, but she has not had any issues whatsoever, and and it's been amazing, and it's kind of, as a parent, it's really hard for me. It's one of the things that I've had to deal with a lot in the last couple of years, is guilt, because as a parent, you want to do everything, you want to make sure that you're doing the best for your children. And when you realize that what you're doing maybe wasn't the best, it can be very, very hard. And the guilt for me was very tough to overcome in the beginning. And it's something that I had to work very hard on. And, I even became, you know, almost depressed for months, just thinking about I was, that I was potentially, or it wasn't potentially, I was actually doing something that was suboptimal for my own, child that I love so much more than anything in the world. And also because I was promoting a message that I believe is not correct for so many people. And I kept thinking, how many parents are doing this to their children because of me? I have on YouTube, like, I don't know, like 30 million views on vegan videos or something like that. On Instagram, who knows how many people have been impacted. So, um, but at the end of the day, what's the most important is that they're healthy now and they're much more improved, and that I'm just trying to warn people, because this is not something that only happened to me. It's happened to countless other people out there as well.